A very good evening to all of you. Namaste.
नमस्ते।
Welcome to Mrutyunjay. It's a rational dialogue on dignified death. Mrutyunjay, गरिमा पूर्ण मृत्यु पर एक विवेकशील संवाद. I am Dr. Purnima, neurologist in Pune, and I am the director of Niche Advocacy Foundation. And this is a project very close to our heart. Advocacy Foundation is a Section 8 company which was established on 23rd October 2019. And we were to launch our NGO in August. But however, because of the lockdown period, our web-based project started, and we came up with a variety of programs for the lockdown with the focus of emotional fitness for everybody. That is the agenda of our NGO, Emotional Fitness for All. And NISH is an acronym actually, and it stands for Neuroplasticity for Individual and Community Health Education. NISH is also an exclusive set of skills because of intersection of two different abilities. And that is how we came up with this name. And we are advocates for personal growth through personal change. Neuroplasticity is basically the ability of the brain to change and learn. तो ब्रेन की जो ये क्षमता है सीखने की और बदलने की, उसी को हम न्यूरोप्लास्टिसिटी कहते हैं. एंड वी आर एडवोकेट्स ऑफ पर्सनल चेंज फॉर इमोशनल फिटनेस. आवर विजन इज इमोशनल फिटनेस फॉर एवरीवन, सबके लिए भावनिक स्वास्थ्य, ये हमारा ध्येय है. वी हैव अ कैफेटेरिया अप्रोच, मीनिंग दैट वी हैव समथिंग फॉर एवरीबडी. हर किसी को अलग अलग भाषा समझती है, किसी को गानों की और संगीत की भाषा, किसी को डिस्कशन, किसी को पेंटिंग्स पसंद है, किसी को संवाद और चर्चा, और किसी को ट्रेनिंग वर्कशॉप. तो इन आवर मॉडल वी हैव समथिंग फॉर एवरीबडी. और अलग अलग प्रोग्राम्स के रूप में हम लोगों तक पहुंचते हैं. लॉकडाउन शुरू होने के बाद 15 अप्रैल 2020 से हमारे वेब बेस्ड प्रोग्राम हर हफ्ता शुरू है. ट्वाइस अ वीक अनहाइड इज बीइंग कंडक्टेड, एंड इट इज नॉट जस्ट एन ओपन माइक. Then in the beginning of June, we had a 9 days session of summer school. On 7th May 2020, our e-internship program started. On 10th May 2020, we had a music-based program called Rishtun Ka Manja, which spoke about the 10 core skills of emotional fitness as prescribed by WHO. And we conveyed this through the language of music and Bollywood songs. So these are our primary pillars: Unhide, Saksham, Samvad, HARP, and VIP. VIP is the volunteering internship program. And as we saw, we have done a lot of work in the past 2 months. We are extremely grateful to all the people who are associated with us for our Unhide, which has been happening twice a week since 15th of April. We had some special theme-based discussions. Sports psychologist, he spoke about how the lockdown is affecting sports people. Then depression has been dealt with, insomnia has been dealt with. Then we also dealt with the subject of intimacy in the period of lockdown. Then after this heart-wrenching news, we also discussed the topic of depression and suicide, because still people are shaken up by that whole situation. So I welcome you all to this program of Mrutyunjay, which is it is a project very close to my heart, because as a neurologist, we see a lot of patients who are suffering from chronic illnesses, and we have a certain perspective, we have certain knowledge, but sometimes the patients and the caregivers do not know about it. So मृत्युंजय, मृत्यु पर हम विजय नहीं पा सकते. इट इज द ओनली कॉमन ट्रूथ फॉर ऑल ऑफ अस. मगर हम मृत्यु के भय पर और उस पर लगे डर के कलंक पर विजय जरूर पा सकते हैं. मृत्यु को हम विवेक से देख सकते हैं. We can have a rational view of looking at death. So Mrutyunjay is a rational dialogue on dignified death. Mrutyunjay, गरिमा पूर्ण मृत्यु पर एक विवेकशील संवाद. Now this is our first paid web-based discussion forum. We thank our donor, Dr. Mrs. Nehela Taude, and all the people who are attending today as paid attendees. It was an adventurous task to even state payment for a web-based program in the lockdown state. क्योंकि अब लॉकडाउन की स्टेट में सबको थोड़ी बहुत फ्री प्रोग्राम्स की आदत सी हो गई है. बट आफ्टर हैविंग कंडक्टेड सेवरल फ्री प्रोग्राम्स, ऑलमोस्ट 25 programs we conducted free, we realized that this topic is a little more special than all other topics, and it is more important, and it deserves special attention and respect. Death, मृत्यु, is a neglected topic. Rather, it is a taboo topic. मराठी में बोलते की काहीतरी अभद्र बोलू नकोस. ये क्या ऐसी वैसी बातें कर रहे हो, दैट इज व्हाट पीपल फील. एंड येट डेथ इज द कॉमन डेस्टिनेशन ऑफ ऑल ऑफ अस. ऑल्सो the money that we are collecting is going towards funds for our most important upcoming project by the name of HARP. So, Mrityunjay, it is basically a dialogue on death, मृत्यु पर एक संवाद, a dialogue on dignified death, गरिमा पूर्ण मृत्यु पर एक संवाद, and it is a rational dialogue on dignified death, गरिमा पूर्ण मृत्यु पर एक विवेकशील संवाद. Just a week ago, we had a session on depression and suicide. Suicide is also death, but it is death brought on by a severe mental illness called depression or major depressive disorder. It is not rational to kill yourself. Depression is treatable, and the rational approach to depression and the impulse for suicide is to approach a mental health professional, a psychiatrist, and start your treatment maintaining regular follow-up. तो आत्महत्या एक ऐसा कृत्य है जो नैराश्य की बीमारी की वजह से मृत्यु का कारण. आत्महत्या गरिमा पूर्ण नहीं है. आत्महत्या खुद की हत्या है. नैराश्य के लिए सही वक्त पर सही डॉक्टर से उपचार लेना ही समझदारी और विवेक का काम है. तो रैशनल इंटेलिजेंस मतलब विवेक बुद्धि, यही हम हमारी प्रार्थना में सुनने वाले हैं. इसी बुद्धि को हम भगवान से, ईश्वर से मांगते हैं. आइए सुनते हैं पहला गाना. एक प्रार्थना है. मेरे दो दोस्त साइली जो कि नागपुर में न्यूरोसाइकोलॉजिस्ट है, और अरविंद और आनंद मास्ते, इनका यूट्यूब चैनल है टुगेदर वी, उस पर से हमने ये प्रार्थना ली है. ओवर टू यू प्रियदर्शी. Thank you, Saili, and thank you, Anand. That's a beautiful prayer, Saili. Thank you so much. So, rational intelligence, matlab Vivek Buddhi. And that is what we have tried to make Mrityunjay, a rational dialogue on dignified death. गरिमा पूर्ण मृत्यु पर एक विवेकशील संवाद. डेथ लीड्स टू bereavement. कोई हमें बीच रास्ते में छोड़ जाता है तो मन शोक में डूब जाता है और मन से दुख और शोक की संवेदना उठती है. हाउ इज डेथ रिलेटेड टू भावनिक स्वास्थ्य? मृत्यु का भावनिक स्वास्थ्य से क्या लेना देना? ऑफकोर्स है. Death of someone or even our own impending death is the most emotional aspect of life. Most of us are not afraid of death. We are afraid of how we will die, when we will die, and what will happen when we will die. When we lose someone very near to us, our mind is filled not just with sadness, but with grief, a deeper, deeper sadness. It consumes us. There is also something known as anticipatory grief. Grief that we feel when the person is still alive, but we know that the disease is bad and is taking the patient gradually away from us. Let us listen to Dr. Arvind Panchanadikar, psychiatrist from Pune. I will introduce Dr. Arvind in a few words. He is a consultant psychiatrist in Pune, currently working in his own private setup as well as in his institutional practice. He has over 30 years of clinical experience. He is trained in Pune and in UK. He has worked in UK for about 15 years. He believes in holistic approach and does not restrict himself to any particular school of thought. And he is a wonderful speaker and he will speak with great clarity to you about his thoughts. And we are grateful to him that he's there with us today. Over to you, Dr. Arvind. You can share.
Thank you. Thank you, Purnima. And I welcome you all to this wonderful session today. And yes, it is about dignified death. And what I'm going to talk today is basically what happens after we lose someone or we lose something. Whenever we are talking about death, we always talk about two different words. One is grief and the other is bereavement. Even though they seem to mean same things, they're slightly different. When we talk about grief, we are talking about our response to either loss of something or loss of someone. So grief is basically the response that arises when we lose someone or something. And I'll explain in a minute why I'm talking about something, not someone most of the time. And bereavement, as we see, it's a process. It's a process through which a grieving person, a person who's experiencing grief, goes and tries to make amends with what they have lost. So, what is grief? Grief is a response to loss of someone or something. So grief usually happens when somebody has died, and it depends on whether somebody who has died with whom we have shared a bond and an affection has already been formed. So if someone that we are close to dies suddenly, or as Purnima said, slowly and gradually, where there is anticipatory response, anticipatory grief, we experience grief. There are various ways grief will manifest itself. It will show in terms of physical symptoms like loss of sleep, loss of appetite, not feeling like doing anything. It may manifest in terms of the cognitive symptoms, wherein it affects our thinking, the way we look at ourselves and the world. And this is where the low mood or the depression or the anxiety might come up. It will also manifest in terms of behavioral manifestations like getting angry quickly, getting snappy, getting irritable. Also, there are social, cultural, and spiritual aspects of a grieving process. And a lot of how a particular person or a community grieves is based into the social, the cultural, the spiritual, and also the philosophical makeup of the person. Because the way a person grieves in the Eastern culture is different from how a person from the West will probably grieve. When I was talking about grief, I said that it's a loss of someone or something. And what is that something? That something can be a person who is employed, meaningfully employed, making enough amount of money and getting job satisfaction, and suddenly loses his job. So unemployment also can trigger grief. Ill health, say when I am experiencing good health and suddenly I am diagnosed with an illness which would evoke some fear in my mind, it is a grief. It is loss of my healthy one, healthy self. It leads to grief. Even an end of a close relationship, may it be a parent, may it be a sibling, may it be a loved one. When that relationship comes to a sudden end or a gradual end, a person experiences grief. So, grief is a response to loss, and that loss could be a loved one, a person, or something that one values, something that one values, which gives a meaning to our own existence, our own being. So, whatever the reason of grief may be, most of the people will go through definitive steps of grieving. There is a process, and that process is called bereavement. So, how does the bereavement look like or manifest when somebody is grieving? Recently, there was a viral WhatsApp message that was going around, which talked about a very eminent scientist, Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, who in 1969, in her landmark book, proposed a 5-step model of bereavement. Mind you, the model that Kubler-Ross proposed is an extremely simplistic model, very easy to understand, and very easy to relate to as well. But one thing that needs to be remembered is when Elizabeth Kubler-Ross proposed that model, the model was based on people who were dying. So she based that model on people who were experiencing imminent death. And she came up with 5 different steps through which a person who is about to die would go through. And those steps, I'm sure a lot of you would be aware, having read through those WhatsApp messages, is first and the foremost reaction is denial. मेरे साथ ऐसा हो ही नहीं सकता. Of course, we can use this model to explain the grieving process, the bereavement the survivors are faced with as well. So, if somebody in your family has died or you've lost a job, the first reaction is no, it can't be. It's not possible. It won't happen. It shouldn't happen. It hasn't happened. So, it's the denial phase. After denial, one goes into the phase of anger. Is why it happened. They have no right to fire me. My sister has no right to leave me like this when she is comfortably dead and pain free. Then comes the phase of bargaining, where the focus shifts on what if. So, what if I had been good with my boss? He wouldn't have fired me. What if I had gone to this doctor or this particular pathy? My loved one wouldn't have experienced the symptoms that they have. So, the phase of bargaining. After that phase of bargaining has been dealt with, so first, it can't happen. Then, why it did happen? Then, what if we would have done something? Then when the, as they say, when the news really sinks in, there is a phase of depression. So there is a bit of reckoning that yes, this has actually happened, and that's when we really start dealing with the loss. And once we go through this phase of low mood and anxiety and depression, it happens with most of us. So there's nothing wrong in feeling a little low when we lose someone or something. And the last phase is that of acceptance. So whatever has happened, we learn to come to terms with it and we accept. So the simplistic model is the one by Kubler-Ross, where one goes through denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. There are some more complex models of bereavement as well, and I'll quickly touch upon those. These models are mainly based on the people who are left behind, or the people who are left to face the music, so as to say, when they become unemployed or they experience ill health or there is an end in relationship. The first model was by Rubin in 1981. He called it a two-track model. And the focus of bereavement here is not on the process, but how one is trying to adopt to the loss. And what he meant by adopt to the loss is how a person is managing life in reality in which the deceased person is not there. As in, when someone comes to realize that, yes, my loved one has died, my loved one has moved on, and I'm left alone in this world, when that hits, how someone comes to term with that is what he calls as adopting to the loss. So the obviously it's called a two-track model for a reason. Is the first track depends on how close you were to the deceased person and the severity of mourning or grief. ज्याला आपण मराठीत शोक म्हणतो, तो शोक किती होतो त्याच्यावरती पण the adaptation of having left behind depends. And the second track is even after a person has died, uh, how the grieving person holds an ongoing relationship with the deceased person. That is, how well connected they are even after death, or how close they are after death. And there are various factors which would dictate how easily or with difficulty a person will adopt to the loss. And those factors, and I'll just enumerate them, and maybe when we have time, we can talk about that, is the memory of the person, the emotional closeness or the distancing with that person, either the positive or the negative effects of the death, actually, the conflict situations that may have been shared between the person, whether the person who has died has been idealized in my mind, whether the memories of the loss are actually fresh, what's the impact of the person's death on my self, as in my self image, and the process of the loss, how difficult or easy it has been. So, how does a person who is grieving, who is in bereavement, react? The person may react with crying or talking about the loss, and there's nothing wrong in it. It is good to have a good cry when you're trying to get over something. Only when it is excessive, or in some cultures, what we have seen is a person is forced to cry or forced to talk about the person who has died, and at times it can become harmful. It's absolutely common when a person hears or sees someone even after death, and as many as 25 to 28% of the people have reported either hearing or seeing visions of the deceased person. So, when somebody is in this process of bereavement, they go through phases of either resilience, wherein they are able to maintain a healthy psychological and a physical lifestyle, a phase of recovery when, after experiencing temporary sub-threshold psychopathology like anxiety or depression, or even at times PTSD, they tend to get over it. When it goes on for long, it becomes a chronic dysfunction, wherein after years together, a person will still be grieving for the dead person. It's difficult for them to move on. And in some cases, we see delayed grief as well. Is there won't be an immediate response to the death, but maybe after 6 months, 8 months, even a couple of years, a person may enter a, a grieving process, and that could at times be a cause of concern. So, the most common advice that we are given is that of letting go. Jane do, chhod do. But it's not that simple. Is It is not very easy to let go, but there are some myths about how easy it is to let go. And what I would say is, do not try and ignore the loss, try and face it. You don't have to be strong to be able to face it. It's absolutely fine to feel sad, scared, lonely in the face of death. Not crying or not feeling sad is not abnormal. There are some people who deal with their loss in their own ways. There is no timetable for how long the bereavement process will last. Some people will get over it within a few days, some may take up to 6 or 9 months. And the most important is, letting go or moving on does not mean that you are forgetting the person who is deceased. It doesn't mean that the person who is dead means nothing to you. You are just trying to adjust to your loss in your own way. And a quick 1 minute about how to let go is, the most and important thing is to accept the pain, accept what's happened, differentiate the unexpected emotions and try and deal with them. The process of bereavement is unique to everyone, and it's unique to the person who is bereaving. Do seek help when you feel that it is impacting on your day-to-day life, it's impacting on your functioning. Being physically fit always helps to overcome any stress for that matter. And do watch for signs of depression or anxiety and do seek appropriate help. So this was in short what I wanted to talk about: grief, bereavement, the psychology of bereavement, and the concept of letting go. Nothing is abnormal. And one most important thing I want to stress is, it is absolutely normal to feel abnormal in abnormal situations. So don't feel afraid when something happens and you can't explain it. Do seek advice and you would be able to deal with it. So thank you. Thank you very much. And over to you, Purnima.
Thank you, Dr. Arvind. Thank you so much for enlightening us. Really very enlightening, and handling grief and taking help when required. Most important.
Yes,
जेव्हा
that's
मदत
important.
yeah. So that was the most important thing, कि जेव्हा आपल्याला वाटेल की मदतीची गरज आहे, जब भी हमें चाहे कि हमें मदद की जरूरत है, हमने वो मदद सही सही सोर्स से लेनी चाहिए. And there are always teams of people available to help you, and we have our own team. Dr. Arvind is there, Dr. Abha is there. So we have people who are approachable. Pune is a city where so many people are available for help. So do seek that help. And as was highlighted, grief is not just a loss of a person, but even a loss of things. And now in this situation where some people are losing their jobs, losing their health, that is also a source of grief and bereavement. So thank you so much, Dr. Arvind.